Yo, what's up? Alright, everyone. I know it's been like way too long. It's been over a week since I recorded my last one. But, like I mentioned last time, I don't want to actually record a podcast in a routine and based on a schedule. I want to do it when I actually have something to say. And this weekend of football was fucking unbelievable. So much went on, so there's so much to talk about. Let's get straight to it. I'm not gonna start with the Prem this time because something even bigger happened. Juve won the Serie A thanks to Roma beating Napoli. Napoli is second on 76, Roma third on 73, and Juve are like 9 points ahead of Napoli or something like that. But why I want to start with this was because start of the season, Juve were like in 15th. They started the same way Chelsea started this season. And then in October, they went on this fucking incredible run of like, I think they won like 73 out of 76 points in the league. So, and, or 73 out of 75 because they drew one game. They haven't lost since October. And that's unbelievable. And it was kind of unfortunate that they got knocked out of the Champions League. But sometimes that's what the cup does. It's very in the moment kind of football in the cup, and sometimes it's just a better team in the day that goes through, or a better team over the two legs that goes through. It was a little unfortunate, but what a season they've had. Their players, they replaced everyone who left. Tevez went; he was one of their key players last season. Vidal's gone. Got both of them replaced. Pogba stepped into the sort of a leader captain's role. They got Dybala, who is just unbelievable. He can play as the number 10. He can play as a striker. They've got Morata, who just he's so consistent in his performances this season, especially. And of course, they've got Mandzukic, an out-and-out target man, a number 9. He's kind of like Zeko a bit. He's tall. He can head the ball. He can pretty I don't want to say one-dimensional striker because that it's kind of taking away from his other abilities, but he's very much a target man. So Juve have got a lot in their locker. They signed Khedira this season. Khedira has come under a lot of criticism in the past, but I always think he's a decent player for a good side. For a side like Juve, Real, Germany, even like he's one of those utility men. He's consistent. He's a rock. He's a box to box. Even if he isn't as charismatic as Pogba or he isn't as powerful as Yaya Toure at his peak and stuff, he gets the role done. And Juve have got a lot of players like that. I think they thoroughly deserved this season. I've never been a huge fan of them, but I like the individuals that they have in their team, and I like the way they played this season. They gained a lot of my respect last season when they made the Champ League final. So I mean, it was kind of inevitable that they win it. It's their fifth Serie A in a row, so there was no other conclusion, I guess, to say. But yeah, hats off to them. They completely deserved it. I want to spend a little more time talking about the Serie A a bit because I remember earlier on when I started this podcast series, I spent a little bit of time in one of my earlier podcasts talking about how I think the Serie A should be higher up than the Prem in terms of a league coefficient. And I want to take back those words because now that I think about it, the Serie A have got Juve, who are a Champions League, consistent Champions League team. They're on the level of PSG, Bayern even, like they're in the top 6 teams in Europe. But then if you look at the other teams that Serie A have, like the other big teams, quote unquote, you have Napoli, Roma, and then you can maybe toss in the AC and Inter because of the history that they've had. But if you look at them now and in their recent history, those teams have underperformed like mad. So if you compare those second tier teams in Serie A to the bigger teams in the Prem, for 1v1, the Premier League teams will beat them hands down. Yes, there'll be maybe an odd result here or there, but I think the Premier League teams will come out on top. If you compare a Man City against Napoli, or an Arsenal against Napoli, even Liverpool this season against Napoli, or Liverpool Roma, I don't really see Roma beating Liverpool. Roma have had their ups and downs this season. They started off really well and then they fell away, and then now they picked it up back under Spalletti. But the thing is, they just never perform in Europe. Yes, there's an argument made. They got Real in the Champions League in the round of 16, so you couldn't really help them there. But maybe they'll surprise me next season. I doubt it. Anyway, that's the end of my rant on Serie A. Congrats to Juve. Uh, let's move on. Before I move on to the La Liga, I want to spend some time, of course, talking about the Premier League. Tottenham, they blew it. They blew it. They blew their chance. They could have gone again back to 5 points to Leicester. Leicester have a tough game next weekend at Old Trafford. Yes, Tottenham also have a tough game at Chelsea. But I feel if Tottenham had done something this weekend and got the points against West Brom, they would have been fired up enough to go out and give it their all against Chelsea. And I still don't doubt that they will give it their all. But now they're going to be slightly more dejected because it's a bigger challenge for them. They have to reduce an 8 point lead rather than a 5 point lead. If Leicester lost and Tottenham won, Tottenham would have been 2 points closer to Leicester. And Leicester still have to play West Ham and Everton. Oh, sorry, no, they don't have to play West Ham. Sorry, they have to play Chelsea and Everton. So an argument could have been made that if Tottenham had won this past weekend, so yesterday, and then beaten Chelsea and Leicester lost, yes, there are a lot of ifs there, but they would have been 2 points behind Leicester, and that could have been the push that they needed. But they fucked up. I don't want to. It's harsh to say that. There's no question about it, because West Brom, they really picked it up second half. I watched the game yesterday, and Tottenham also, they didn't play badly. They had luck play against them, I'd say. They hit the frame of the goal like 3 or 4 times. Couple of odd chances missed. West Brom sucker punched them, but that's what West Brom are known for. That's the kind of team they are. They just need one chance and they're gonna shut up shop after they get that goal in, and that's what they did to Tottenham. And it's unfortunate, but the truth is Leicester just deserve it. They, like Tottenham went away to Stoke last weekend, won 4-0. That was the weekend Leicester drew to West Ham, and what a response Leicester had to that. They came back all guns blazing, Vardy-less, and just spanked Swansea 4-0. That's the kind of spirit that team has, and it doesn't matter what challenge they face, they're up for it. So I'm 98% sure that Leicester are going to win the title now, and I'm pretty sure majority of people who follow the sport will agree with me. And I just want to spend a couple more minutes on this subject, because if we look at, I just read this article 2-3 days ago that was on Eurosport about how Tottenham are the best team in the Premier League, and I disagree with that. Yes, I'm a fan of Tottenham this season. I'm a fan of their individuals. I love the team spirit that they have. I love how Pochettino has got this chemistry and belief flowing through the team that they never seem to have had before in the past. But if they were the best team in the league, they would be on top of the league. It's obvious that in the span of 38 games, the team that performs best wins. It isn't like a cup or a tournament or a knockout rounds where sometimes luck can play a role and the best team gets knocked out. This is a 38 match 8-month league, and the team that performs best obviously wins, and Leicester have performed best. That's why they're on top. So I understand this guy a little bit, where he's coming from. Yes, they've got the stats to back them up and all that stuff, but in the end, the biggest stat that they don't have to back them up is the points table. Leicester are 8 points clear of Tottenham. There it is. That's all that matters. Leicester are the better team than Tottenham this season. Leicester beat them, got 4 points from them this season. So there you go. I don't understand why that guy wasted his time writing that article, because it really makes no sense to me. Just quickly before I move away from England, I want to talk about the FA Cup, of course. United, that was a nail biter of a game, man. I don't think I've ever been that excited while watching a United game this season. It was like Fergie's old United of yesteryear, if you will. Like they just want to fuck with us a little bit. Like it was a great game. We sort of dominated the first half. Everton didn't show up, to be fair, in the first half, so United obviously took control. But the second half was unbelievable. It was adrenaline packed, open. Everton had a fair few chances. United could have killed the game a little bit earlier, but what a response though! Like as soon as Everton got that goal, the momentum kind of shifted towards them, but United just didn't give up, and that was very, very interesting to me to see, because we haven't shown that in the past, this season especially. And Martial, he really deserved it. He lately, I've seen in the last few weeks, he's been performing out of his skin, and he's been like that this season. But what I like more is now that the people around him, like the Lingards, the Rashfords, the even Juan Mata, and some of the central midfielders like Carrick's picked up his game a bit, and we've got like Damian and few people finding form in the right moment. Even then, I think Martial is a little bit more, stands out a little bit more. Yes, Rashford's got the goals, but Martial just doesn't stop running, and I think he really deserved the goal that he had, and everything else. Also, I want to talk about how De Gea, the couple of he is a true leader. I was talking to a friend the other day about how I don't think goalkeepers can really be captains of a team, because you need leadership on the field. You need inspiration on the field. I've always associated the number 10 role to be where the captain plays, because he dictates the play a little bit. He has a vision to see everything around him. One pass by him could change the game. But De Gea was truly inspiring, man, because he kept them in the game with that penalty save. Yes, it wasn't the best penalty, but holy shit, the power it had on that. It was still low down to the ground, so it was harder. Those penalties are generally harder to save, and what a strong hand he got on that. He's really just an unbelievable player and truly inspiring. And I think he can, if he decides to stick with United, he can definitely be the next captain we have. Um, and that was really good to see. And again, just before I move on a little bit, I want to spend a little bit time talking about Van Gaal, because okay, I honestly, if he wins us the FA Cup, I wouldn't consider it a success, but I would. I don't know if people can relate to this, because we've underperformed like fuck this season, but we also haven't had the FA Cup in like 17 odd years. So it would be nostalgic, especially for the people who've been living in Manchester, the United, the through and through, they bleed United kind of fans, to see the FA Cup back there. But at the same time, I don't think it warrants another season with Van Gaal, because he's been so inconsistent, and a lot of times he seems to lack this identity. I read this other thing the other day where he wants to put Memphis up on sale. It's like, dude, why do you make these stupid decisions in the first place if you're just gonna go back on it? It's like Di Maria all over again. Memphis is young. He's 21. He's had one season. I don't think he's performed too badly. Why are you being so impulsive to put him up on sale again? It just baffles me a little bit. But yeah, that's the end of my rant. And considering the time, I want to move on really quick to the La Liga. Two things I want to talk about. First off, Barcelona this past week, 14 goals. Suarez got eight of them, and I think he assisted like 5 of them. And honestly, I would trade this if we were still in the Champions League and we hadn't lost Real in the Clasico. And I'm saying this because Barcelona, we do this thing where we like, oh, we score all these goals against shitty teams, and it's like, oh, they're the best team in the world and all this stuff. And maybe, but the truth is, even against Gijon and Depor, we were so open at the back. Any team with better finishers would have taken those chances. And it's not even that it was just one odd chance, it was like 6 or 7 chances that we consistently gave them. And we've seen this season that when you give good teams chances, they will take it. That's why we're out of the Champions League. That's why we lost against Real. I don't like how vulnerable we are at the back. There needs to be a restructuring to the point where we can't just have 7 players defending and then the top three like on the other side of the field. It just doesn't work like that. Yes, I understand we have the quality in Neymar, Messi, and Suarez, and not too many teams have that luxury. But you need a balance. And Real, yes, they've got that front three, the heavy front three, but at the same time, if you look at their midfield, they've got those utility um, utility sort of like hounds in the form of Cruz and Modric. They do a bit of running. They're a little bulkier in size. They're not like Iniesta's diminutive a little bit, and he's slick. And Rakitic is more the box to box. I think you need to have more players who play similar roles if you're going to play such an open kind of football or open style of football, and that needs to be something that we change. I saw today that we have Eric Bailey, who's this amazing defender for Villarreal, on our radar, and I think he would be a good signing. Fuck the Verrattis, fuck the, like the next Neymars and all this stuff. Get some solid players in defense. That's what we need right now. And I don't know. I think I'm glad that we picked up back our form and our confidence is back. But I don't want another season like this. Yes, we can still win the double, and that's still great, objectively speaking. But the Champions League is where it's at, especially in Europe, especially if you're a big team like Barcelona, like Real, like Bayern, like former United. The Champions League is the ultimate glory, and if we are to win the Champions League again, we need to make some changes. It's just that simple. That's the end of that. Although there's so much more I can say on it, but again, with the interest of time, I want to move on quickly to Atletico, and then I'll finish up. Atletico won today, or this past weekend. It was 1-0 to Malaga. And I spent some time talking about how they play a little dirty football, and it's inspired by Simeone. Simeone threw another football onto the field as Malaga were countering in open play, and that is unacceptable to me. And like people will laugh it off a little bit. Oh, it's Atletico. Oh, they're the underdogs. Oh, it's Simeone. That's just how it is. If it was Mourinho, there would be just non-stop daggers at his face because it's Mourinho. He shouldn't be doing this. He's just a cock. All this stuff. I don't see why Simeone and why Atletico don't get more scrutiny than they currently experience, because that is fucking unacceptable. He threw another football. Yes, he did get ejected, but there's literally nothing about it on the media. I didn't even know this until I saw the highlights. I didn't want to watch the highlights because it was just another typical grind out Atletico result. But as soon as I heard about Simeone getting sent off, I wanted to see this, and I just find it baffling. Like, how is that allowed? How is he not banned? How is he not under scrutiny? This is just unbelievable stuff to me, and I really think there needs to be a change in the way people view Simeone. Yes, he's charismatic, he's got the passion for the game, and I think we need managers like that. But at the same time, you can't let that side of someone's game and someone's personality overshadow the other negative sides. And I think that should apply to every part of football. I've been recently sort of looking at Mourinho in a different light despite my hatred for him, but that's only because he is objectively a very, very good manager. He's got the stats to back him up, and if you look at those stats, yes, he's a great manager. But I have my own personal bias against him, but I'm not going to let that come in my way when I view things. And I just feel like the mainstream media needs to do that a little more. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have for this week. As I am recording this, the Champions League between Man City and Real has started, so I'm gonna go watch that and finish my cup of tea. Yes, I actually have a cup of tea today. Um, I will be back probably Saturday. I'll say Saturday because have a busy day Friday. With a recap of the Champions League results, if there's something interesting to talk about, and then possibly the next week to recap the weekend results. Until then, enjoy, keep watching football, and just live, laugh, learn, and love, guys. I'll see you later.